Hey Hollywood fans, and welcome to another show. So as you can see from the cap that's on, this week is going to be all about the GXCCs. Rysmierbult. I've always loved this track. I like hard pack. I like the way you have to get your bike dialed in perfectly to find that traction. It's all about tires, and traction is Rysmierbult, but more importantly, it's all about the whole shot, because this event has the gnarliest dust this side of Dakar. This show was all about Rysmierbult. It's going to be rock and roll. You're going to get sick of hearing me commentating and saying the words rock and roll, but that's exactly what this is as we close in on the last quarter of the GXCC Championship in 2022. Enjoy the show. I think the Live X boys knocked this one out the park. All this GXCC racing action driven by Dunlop is brought to you by VW Mastercars Hatfield. As we close in on the end of what has been a never-ending winter, GXCC get ready for some red-hot racing action. This show is going to be rock and roll because we are back at the rock and roll racing venue of Rysmierbult. Hard pack racing is the story of the day, with a little bit of rocks and high speed thrown in. Vion is pumped to get us back here.
You know, today we're out here at Rysmierbult. It's one of the old favorites. The guys have been racing here for many years. And it's always good fun out here. Unlike some of the other tracks where we've got a lot of sand, this is hard pack. Unfortunately, dusty this time of the year, but it's such an awesome route. I had Stephen go out yesterday to do the pre-run, and he came back with a smile this big, said, what an awesome route. So guys are going to have good fun out there today.
Morning session would be about the juniors and the quads. We went down to chat to a few quaddies.
Ek ken Rysmierbult, ons het al hier gery. So ek weet daar's baie klippe. Dis maar van versigtig wees in die begin tot jy die baan nou ken, en dan moet jy maar die throttle oopmaak.
A lot of rocks, dust is going to be a lot, and yeah, just going to go have fun. This is Keenan's old race bike, 2020. We bought it at Gideon. So yeah, just started racing with this bike, and so far it's going good. Yeah, it's going to be rough. You're going to get rode out. So we're going to see how it goes.
Okay, we were not here before. Yeah. This is our first time here on this track. Well, we think it's going to be very, very, very hard, as we don't know the track. And on the pictures that we saw, it's very rocky. This is going to be a tough one.
Yeah, we've heard from some other guys as well that it's going to be a very rocky one, tight one, tough one. But we'll see how it goes. Hope for the best.
Yes.
A bit dusty, so whole shot.
I'm hoping for it. I've been getting quite a couple of whole shots lately, so I'm hoping for this one as well, because they say that the first part of the track is the tight one, so to get the whole shot is going to help a lot.
Yeah, it's going to be a key to get out in front to avoid all the dust, but yeah, we're going to try.
The morning session and Vion walking with the flag. That meant everyone was starting to get twitchy on the line for the quads. The old school custom boys had made the move up from WOW class into the Q1s, meaning there was a 4-rider gate. Who would get the cheese? Whole shot was going to be key on all of the gates going out onto the course, because it was very tight in the first 4 to 5 kilometers, and Franco Pretorius knew that. He buried himself to get that big whole shot, almost lost it at turn number 2, but managed to hang on to see clear air. In the Q2s, it was all about Rian Dick back on bike number 1 with the round winner on the screaming Banshee that is Hannah Simon. Both boys going 1 and 2. Back on the line and into the Masters, Jaco Krikke delivering the goods once again. He has become the new whole shot machine, but he had big Henny Macau Sr. chasing him down, and Macau has always run good on this course. On the line, going back, another whole shotter who got his crown back, beating out on the 4x4s, and that was Brian Herbst. No show for Peter Persson this time, so there was going to be a big change up in the championship outside of 2nd, 3rd and 4th place. Brian was gone though. On the ladies' gate, a huge hole shot coming in from Corrine Thiessen, one of her best gates ever. But remember, she's on a stock standard machine, and sometimes it does show. Doesn't have the big wide A arms, but she can muscle that thing around and stay ahead of the girls, but for how long? And then in the quad wows, just one single entry. So it was going to be fun to see how this guy came back and reported back his first race of the GXCCs. Then on the line in the morning session, the rest of the Standout Q was going to be all about our junior riders, with the big guys on the senior 85s, opening up their short 15-kilometer loop, but one of the fastest loops laid out on the season. Jaden Boyce puts his Kawasaki onto the whole shot queue. He's looking really good in the championship at the moment as well, starting to really get that confidence to know that he's going to be one of the key players. He was out there with Sinclair and Clarkey. And then this is all about Bruno Niebuhr, almost tuck in the front end at turn number 1, but by the time we got to turn number 3, Bruno Niebuhr was out front. 65s, Jean-Luc van der Westhuizen gets his first whole shot since moving up just 6 months ago onto the 65cc gate. He saw clear air, but for how long? Because there was a lot of key riders in the championship chasing him down. And then on the 50cc gate, Declan Richards just about squeaked it, but Lincoln Deister got to see clear air for a millisecond. And then, once again, it was the Declan and Wilco show. These kids are the class of the 50cc gate right now. Let's go chat to Vian and see what he's got in store for the kids.
Yeah, junior loop today is going to be 15.2 kilometers in length. Unlike the last time where we took them across the main tar road, we're actually going to keep them on the bottom part of this farm. They are going to start off with a couple of twists and turns, a little bit tight, and then it opens up. They're going to have some fast sections, long straights actually, but not fast straights. There's some embedded rocks and so on, with a couple of kinks in the road. So when you look on the map, you think, hey, it's a long straight, but it's actually slower than what you could expect. But yeah, they're going to have some lacquer twisty sections coming back towards the pit area between the pecanut trees and then back into the pits. It's going to be fast. I'm guessing the top guys will probably do about 17 minutes a lap, maybe just under that. We'll see. Let's see if they surprise us.
Let's see, and we'll start that ladder climb with our 50cc riders. Just 7 kids going out there. Kellen Van Deventer getting a number 7 finish, with Campbell Dupria once again squeaking his way inside the top 6. Trav Levy starting to get super comfortable now on his machine. Only his first full season racing on the full tour on the 50cc's. Lincoln Deister, like I said, he got an incredible off the line and eventually just dropping down to 4th place. Will keep him in the championship hunt as well. With Leon Foster up the road in 3rd place. The top 3 riders on the 50cc gate at the moment, absolute rippers. Declan Richards has been the star of the show in the first half of the season. Second half of the season, he's had to see 2nd place a few too many times. Not to his liking. He's desperate to get the win streak going once again, but there's one more rider that he has to beat who always comes good in the second half of the tour, and that is for Rubine Racing's Wilco Deploy. He gets this right almost every single season. The last 3 seasons, he has been almost unstoppable in the second half of the season. Bit of a slow burner, but this is going to tighten things up in the championship big time. This 50cc gate has become now a 2-horse race. For the 65s, a huge story, and we go all the way down to pick up on 8th place, Tommy Jaden Witherspoon, and then 7th place to Mackenzie Bam. Remember, Bam is looking to come back from her injury as well, so she's desperate for the points. Jean-Luc van der Westhuizen pulls his first big hole shot and squeaks his way inside the top 6 at the same time, and his old sparring partner from 2 seasons back on the 50cc's, Maddie Mayer, just up the road in a number 5 spot. Maddie was a little bit under the weather, so he'll be happy to just grab that number 5 finish come the end of play and stay in the championship hunt. Tiane Tienpont, one of the fastest girls out there, and she is starting to make a name for herself as one of the top ladies to watch out for in the future. 4th place for Tienpont, and just off the back wheel of Liam Skierpers as well. Tienpont, what a story. Skierpers also starting to step onto the podium more often than not in the second half of the season as he gets a little bit bigger, a little bit more muscular, and can really get the best out of his 65cc gate. Werner Kleinams is just one of those riders who always brings it home inside the top 5, but more often than not in the second half of this season, it's been inside the top 3. Another Rubine Racing rider sitting at number 2 spot coming out of Rysmierbult. Jake the Snake, who has been banging bars with Mackenzie Bam the whole way through the season, the rider out of the Pepsin Plastics factory Kawasaki squad, is looking to try and get his big number 1 plate. It's going to be a nail-biter because the championship has started to get a little bit hairy after this round. Just 2 rounds to go. Jake the Snake, the winner here, and starting to look good on the numbers. On the Junior 85s, our very own little Chris. That is Chris Harmster Jr. getting it done in a number 8 finish with 7th place going to Drickers van der Merwe. The Junior 85s, a lot of them getting a little bit too big, and they're desperate to make that big move up into the Senior 85s. A lot of them just absolutely dwarfing their bikes. So Harmser, Van der Merwe, Deister, and then Tienpont getting a good run going to get himself up there into a number 5 spot. Hanyu de Kock, also one of the riders who's getting nice and tall and starting to stretch out. He gets himself a number 4 finish with Jaden Els, a former 65cc champion, really coming good. Also another rider who has found his form in the second half of the season, riding out of the Kawasaki squad. 3rd place for him. John Botmaritz, who was the champion for Kawasaki in previous seasons, still remains a champion for Kawasaki, but he is starting to climb the ladder. It's been a ton of top 3s for Maritz, and he is tasty for a top 3 come the championship time at the end of the season. But it's Bruno Niebuhr who's put in a bit of a growth spurt this year as well. Rubine Racing putting him into the Junior 85s. I'm not quite sure if he's staying 85 Junior for this next season or if he's going forward, but he is going to be one of the fast riders to watch out for, always bringing home a top overall time as well. In the Senior 85s, the fast dudes, Ruan Upperman getting it done, Franco Ferri, the hard pack not really suiting his kind of riding style. He maybe just didn't get the right setup on his machine, but 5th place keeps him inside the top 5 for the championship as well. The famous J400. We'll be watching that kid get faster as we get longer into the seasons. Johan Vermaak also finding his little bit of rhythm to get himself up there into a number 4. Vermaak really starting to find his feet on the Kawasaki. Loan Leroux, one of the riders who's also looking to make that big move up into the 125 high schools for next season. Happy with his 3rd place. This is one of his best rides, and he'll said that Rysmierbult is right up his alley. Really suits the way that he puts the power down on his machine. Nate Dogg, Nathan Sinclair, rock and roll solid on the gas, always good out of the gate, was inside the top 3 coming out the whole shot, only dropped 1 to eventually finish in a number 2 spot, but he lost almost 8 minutes to the eventual race winner. That man, as always, Clarkey. Brandon Clark staring down the barrel of a big number 1 plate as he also gets himself ready to make the big move up into the 125s. He's doing double duty at the GXCCs at the moment, racing in the Senior 85s and the OR4s. But this is where he is going to splat the big number 1 plate. Clarkey, the fastest junior once again. Confirmation of results then in the Senior 85s. We just saw Clarkey take the flag. He's on the top step once again, ahead of Sinclair, Leroux, Vermaak, Ferri, and Opperman. For the Junior 85s, big gate once again with Bruno the best of them. John Botmaritz in the 2 spot ahead of Els. That's Kawasaki's running 2 and 3. De Kock, Tienpont, Deister, Van der Merwe. Chris Harmser gets into the show on a number 8 finish as well. For the 65s, Jake the Snake on the Kawa gets it on top ahead of Kleinums and Skippers with Tienpont, Meyer and Van der Westhuizen, and an important 7th place finish for Mackenzie Bam coming back from her injuries. On the 50cc's, Volko Deploy once again deploys the big show to win out at Rysmierbult and put his championship rival Richards to the 2 spot. That was our juniors. We get ourselves ready for the quaddies on the big loop.
The quad loop today is going to be 48.5 kilometers in length. For them, they're going to have a road crossing after about a 4.5 kilometer twist and turn. It's tight, so not a hell of a lot of space to overtake. So whole shot's going to be super important today for the quads. So they're going to go 4.5 k's, jump the road, and then it opens up. They are going to have a couple of fast sections. Then they're going up to the famous old copy that is very well known here at Rysmierbult. Over the copy, then down on the other side, and then it opens up again, lacquer fast but safe. They're going to have a good fast run today. Again, hard pack, so and a lot of rocks in between, but it's well marked, and they're going to have a good, enjoyable ride today.
As we always know, Dust Bowl racing, it's going to be a long and tough one. For the quad wows, with the old school custom boys stepping out, that meant it was a one-man show. Tian Wolfart. We have mentioned his name before in the past. It's the first time we've talked about him this season though. He did a good job to get a finish under his belt. 5 ladies going off the gate, and first of the Kawasaki's that we've seen for a long time. Kern Brits gets a number 5 finish just off the back wheel of Judith Cricker. Cricket and the Big 700, this was always going to be an ask and a task for her to muscle the Big 700 around on a technical layout of a track. Celeste Berger, who's trying desperately to hang on to a slender points lead, drops down to a number 3 finish. It's starting to get a little bit wild inside the top 3 for the quad ladies at the moment. Green Thiessen pulled the big hole shot, survived out front for quite a long time, but eventually had to step back one from the win and settle for a number 2 spot. But if we can get her onto a better machine, Green Thiessen can beat everyone out there at the moment. She actually only lost to Liesl Barnard, the lady on screen right now, by a slender 3.5 minutes. Barnard at the moment starting to really rise to the tippy top. For the quad veterans, cool to see Johan Bronkhorst get the job done inside of a number 6, with Francois Smallberger also enjoying his comeback season on the quads with a number 5, with Rysmierbult just up the road from him, still rocking that rear view mirror, taking a number 4 ride. Inside the top 3, it was all regular size rear wheel drive 450 machinery. Davy DeVet swapping out from the Honda and stepping back down onto what looks like a Suzuki. Slightly bigger machine, not just a 450 but a 700 in the hands of Francois Berger, our reigning and inaugural and defending champion out of the quad veterans gate. But Brian Herbst has got his eyes on the big number 1 plate once again, and he rock and rolled his 421 Racing Yamaha Plan B, he says, because that is not his number 1 machine. His number 1 machine showed mechanicals in the evening before the race, and he had to dust off Plan B. The win though, and 2nd place overall for Herbie. And then in the Quad Masters, a great hole shot for Jaco Krikke, but eventually he had to drop down to a number 3 run. Roxy dos Santos also in a bit of a strong run of form this season, especially in the second half of the year, representing the DeSantis squad. Roxy getting it done with a number 2 finish, but the good money was always going to be on Haney McCow Sr. He knows this terrain, he's raced here and won here many times through the years. And once again, he has risen to the top. He's going to be the guy to beat for the rest of the season on the Quad Masters. Q2s, which has given us the biggest and strongest gates of the season so far in the pro categories. Reinhard Ras had a good pull off the line, but eventually mechanicals late on in lap 1 sent him to the sidelines. Davy van Staden, once again the fastest of the 4x4s, getting it done. Tinus Kotzer would have hoped for more after his incredible run of form so far. And if you can believe it, 4th place is one of his lowest finishes of the season on the big 700cc Honda. That'll hurt him in his championship aspirations. Rion Dick pulling a good hole shot, but eventually dropping 2 positions down to a number 3 finish. But he'll stay inside the top 3 for the championship. So he's survived having to run a stock standard machine at the previous round. He's back on Old Faithful. Andy Blicknort has also come good in the second half of the GXCC Tour of 2022 to see himself stand in 2nd place here and add that to a couple of other podiums. Watch out for Blicknort, he's coming on strong. But Hannes Simon dominating once again, putting over 5 minutes into the rest of the field, taking a Q2 win and the overall for the day, and his 2nd, and that means it's a back-to-back win for the Screaming Banshee. He said it maybe wasn't the best choice of machinery for this, but he just can't talk himself off. He has so much fun when he rides that bike. In the Q1s, cool to see 4 riders stepping up there. Stefanos Muller would have expected to run inside of the top 2. That's where he's been most of the season, but 4th place this time around because Old School Customs came on strong with Vilru Pienaar, one of a lineup of 2 riders and a former junior champion, taking 3rd place this time around. He'll be happy with that to see a little bit more competition and bang elbows with not just this man but the rest of the players. Mosso Silius stepping up to 2nd place. That's good, and that's also saw him finish inside of the top 10 in the overalls on the day. But once again, it was the Yamaha man, little Franco Pretorius, who hammered the nail. He's learned the lesson of GXCC and cross-country racing. Pole shot can so often be the most important part of racing, and at Rysmierbult, because of the short tech section right at the beginning, it really was the make or break situation for this event. Franco Pretorius starting to stretch his advantage off the front as the clock ticked 11 and the flag came out. We chatted to a few quaddies after the event.
Look, it's been fun today. Honestly, terrain is perfect for racing. Not too much dust, a little bit of wind picked up, so awesome conditions for racing.
2 for 2.
Definitely, yeah. I got 1st overall and then obviously 1st Q2. battled a bit this morning to get past all the guys. Didn't get the best of starts, but managed to whole shot my class. But I mean, I'm behind all the 450s. Needed to pass them first. I must be honest, I was on my bench today, and that thing was flying. Not the best conditions for Banshee. I mean, it lacks a bit of bottom end power, but as soon as that thing gets RPM, it just flies.
Yeah, it was. You know, at that time of year, so there's been no rain, and it was a lot faster than I thought it would be. This first section very tight and twisty, and of course over the mountains a little bit technical as well, but a lot of fast stuff. So there's a bit of a sitting duck today on the 450, but we just hang cable and away you go. Yeah, it looks like it. I'm not 100% sure, but it does. From what they're telling me, it's a class win and second overall. So yeah, again, I'm grateful. I'm having a good year. You know, we've got to be grateful for that. Today, yeah, Gideon couldn't make it to ride today, but he was here pit crewing. So, you know, if you can't ride, I've got the best pit crew in the business. So yeah, he had me out in and out lightning time. So it was a good day.
Great day for the Q1 winner, Franco Pretorius. Good run in the overalls as well, beating out on Cilias and Pienaar, who now moved up from WOW into the Q1s. Muller down in 4th place. His tough pill to swallow on the day. Hannes Simon, overall win, and the win in the Q2s ahead of Blicknort, Rian Dick, Kutzer, Van Staden, and Ras giving us a top 6 finish. Quad Masters all about Henny Macau Sr. beating out on Roxy de Santos and Kricker, with Brian Herbst winning out his class ahead of Berger and De Vet, but Herbst also taking 2nd overall in the day, his highest ever overall in a GXCC event. For the quad ladies, all about Liesel Barnard, just squeaking it ahead of Corrine Thiessen, but she's coming on strong. Berger, Kricker, and Brits take us to the top 5 with quad wows. Wolfart getting the job done, 3 laps and counted. So that was juniors and quads for the morning session. Stay with us as we get ready for the senior motorcycles, the first time they've raced in 3 months.
Yeah, so obviously Local Lodge, the bikes couldn't have their run. Very disappointing with the veld fire. Today is going to be super important for the senior bikes. Double points. That's the only feasible option that we had to give something back to those riders that made the effort to be there. So for them today, if they have a bad run, it means double points, damage there. So they need to keep it on 2 wheels and finish the race today and get a good position.
We went down in the pits to chat to Harry Grobler, who is fielding 2 big teams and trying to nail down as many championships as he possibly can.
Yeah, it's been an interesting season. You know, the guys worked hard. I think we've done well. The Kawasaki team is, you know, in all the classes are right up there. We had some bad luck at some of the races. Mike was leading up until the last race we raced. He had a DNF there, so I think it's still on with the throwaways. Mike is still leading the OR1 class, but let's see. Today is going to be the day to determine, because I think there's 2 races left after this one. But all the boys are on it, and they really, really hungry. And you know, I think back in the day there was more racing. I think the guys want to race more, and the guys are ready to race.
I'm hoping so. I mean, the whole lineup on that in the OR1 class, the Oaks are all good, and like Harry said, the guys are all hungry. So I think I've lit a bit of a fire in everyone, and they've gone home and they've done some training, and it's not going to be so easy. So let's see how it goes. At least the wind is up a little bit, should help with the dust.
It's always hardest late in the season to get all the bikes still running and get the energy going in the pits, but you know, it's about the riders and about the family and about everyone else here involved. It makes it easy when everyone pulls their weight, and yeah, that's what this whole racing is about. Everyone must just pull their weight, and then we are racing.
Yeah, that's a big task, but to be honest with you, they're all professional. The setup's professional. Harry has put up a big team, like you mentioned now, and you know, it's a family affair. There's kids running around, there's dogs, it's a family thing, and but when the flag drops, it's professional and it's racing. So the guys get motivated by themselves.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome joining this team. Harry's really put in a huge effort this year, and really enjoying the Honda. Definitely, there's always a bit of banter between the Kawasaki half and the Honda half. yeah, but we all mates. I've known Mark for long, growing up racing each other in KZN, so it's never been any hard feelings or dirty racing. We race hard but race clean. Yeah, to let the best man win.
You know, it's a very much, as big and professional as it looks, it's a very much family-orientated team. You know, it's a great vibe in the team. Everyone helps each other. We we strap each other's hands. It's a good vibe. You know, the moms are here, the kids are here, and it really does set a good atmosphere for the riders, and it's quite a calming environment. So it's awesome, and I'm grateful to be on a team like this.
It's so lekker being in this team. I mean, you come here, everything is organized, everyone is friendly, everyone knows each other, motivates each other. I mean, everyone knows their strong points and weak points, so you give tips to each other, you know, so I mean, it's very, very nice.
Hats off to Harry and everyone behind the scenes to put everyone on bikes and get the sponsors all to work together to get us to the races, keep us at the races, and keep us doing what we do as a team to the best of our abilities. So yeah, it's really awesome to all be part of one big team.
Yeah, we've been putting up a good campaign so far for the Honda manufacturer and getting podiums, and if I'm correct, I think Gareth Cole's leading the OR1 championship at the moment. And today's a big day. It's double header, so double points, so it's all to play for, and the guys are ready, definitely.
No, I just want to say thank you to everyone making this happen for us. Yeah, and let's see how it goes today. I'm sure we're going to see most of these green bikes on the top step of the podium today.
No, for sure. I mean, it's never over till it's over. I mean, the last flag has to drop, and then but like for the whole season, the guys are positive, and the machinery has been on par with performance, and the guys are really enjoying what they're riding, and that's a good thing for us. So it's easy for us to stay positive because we've got the equipment to do the job. That makes it a bit easier, but yeah, we're happy, and yeah, it's still a road to go, but we'll keep on going.
So I think we're very lucky with the team as we are. We're a very tight-knit team, ride together a lot, and Ian's always brought that family aspect into the team, and that makes a big difference. So we ride together, and we've really almost become like brothers, help each other out, and I think that really helps us keep that motivation up, because as you say, the season does draw on long, and often towards the end of the season you do start losing motivation. So yeah, with the partners that we're involved with, and they're always encouraging us and trying to get us to be better, making sure they're giving us all the best, and yeah, we really have the best outlook on the rest of the season.
I think it will be quite fun. Every year we get here, you know, you got the rocks that come out, but it's never that harsh. It's quite hard pack and rocky here, so that is always what we expect. I think it will be quite great out there. Vian said there's a new section, so quite excited to see.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, today, looking at the track, it's quite a fast track, but extremely dusty. Just went out on the junior track to get some photos of Jake out there, and very dusty, but looks like a good event. I mean, we're always excited to come back to Rysmierbult. It's always been a good one on the calendar. As much as it is fast, it's safe, which is lekker, and the team's always put on a good show. So props up to GXCC with Rysmierbult. It's a cool venue, and always something new to add into the racetrack.
Yeah, look, Kenny G came in. I mean, I could have at least waited one more year before King Kenny pulled in, but you know, competition's always tough, and yeah, it just makes you ride harder, makes you ride faster. So yeah, we're putting as much effort in, and we just keep chasing him down. You know, he's got the skills, but there's always going to be a day he might have a flat tire, and let's hope as long as we're there to pick up some points, it's all good. So still a good day out, and it's lovely to have some good competition out there. Yeah, double pointer today. If we hit the double pointer today, we need to have a good result. So yeah, looking for minimum second, but who knows, maybe I can go and let his front tire down quickly.
It's quite a tough year so far, but I think it's going better than I was thinking it was going to go. But just keep going on, and we'll see where it goes. I remember it as rocky and fast, so I think it's going to be a bit faster and more rocks in the tight sections.
Yeah, no, I'm enjoying the new KTM 250 XC machine. She's running like a dream. The first 2 rounds with Davin in the championship was going good. We had good battles throughout, and then sadly he had to go for operation. And since then I've had the ball rolling for me. I'm leading the GXCC championship and the national championship now, going to the last round, and now I just want to bring it home.
Yo, actually I haven't looked at the numbers exactly. I think I'm currently lying third. The dropped races make it a bit more confusing, but I think I'm still in it with a shot, especially with double points. So we have to go out there and give our best and come home with a solid result today.
Yeah, it's a very important race today with double points. Mark and I are quite close in the championship, and then JC's not too far behind. So yeah, today definitely have to get some good points in the bag, and then we should set ourselves up well for the rest of the championship.
I'm not actually 100% sure where I stand. I had a DNF at the last race, and I think that's put me back a bit. So without throwaways, I'm no longer in the lead. With throwaways, I'm actually not too sure where I am. So, you know, we're here for the fun of it and to get the brand out there, and you know, the name out there for everyone. And yeah, let's get out there and have some fun.
Just want to try bring it home today. If you don't finish, you're not going to get any points. So definitely just want to try and get a finish and just not lose too many points today.
To be honest, I'm not too sure where I'm laying. I think I'm in the top 4, maybe. I'm just trying to take race by race and get the best position I can possible.
Trying to go for first to get that extra points to catch up, but we'll see how the day goes.
Yeah, I'd love a whole shot, but I'm not known for whole shots. But we're going to try those tight trees and do my best. Hopefully the wind does pick up later in the day, so there's no dust, and just looking for a good day out.
Definitely, I think that's the plan, to get out front early. I think it's going to be dusty. Hopefully the wind picks up a bit. I mean, if you get a bad start, I think then you'll be able to charge through, but to get the whole shot will definitely be key.
Yeah, no, definitely it's going to be dusty, so whole shot's going to be very important today. And then we go straight into a tight section for a couple Ks, so it's going to be hard to pass there. So I think definitely trying to get a good start, and then clear air once we hit the long straights is going to be important.
Yes, yeah, it would be nice to get out in front. I believe the first 15 Ks is going to be quite tight, so we need to get a good start. Should be, if we can get out right in front, then yeah, we can avoid a lot of the dust for the majority of it. And then yeah, just bust out the laps. I think it's still going to be fun. The dust shouldn't play too much of a part here. There's a lot of wind, so I think it's going to be more a battle of attrition, because this is a really tough course. It always has been very bumpy, rocky. So yeah, it's going to be hard on the body. So as long as we've got the energy and the fitness to get all the way to the end, I think it's going to be a good race.
Yeah, like every year that we come here, it is quite a bit of dust. So your start is always key. Getting out in front will give you that advantage, make a bit of dust and get the Oaks to slow down, and you can pull a gap.
While the riders chatted too, it was time to get lined up and go racing. On the day, just under 200 riders covering all of the categories, but the afternoon event was what everyone was twitching about. For most of these riders, there hadn't been GXCC racing in over 2 months, and the flag drop was well awaited. A massive lineup of OR1 pro racers, and this was going to be a key hole shot. This time around, it looked like Mikey was going to get it, but up the inside, Tyron Beverly gets his first big hole shot since getting onto the green machine. He would clean house and go out front with Mikey chasing down and Coley on his wheel. In the OR2s, the Devastator dropping the hammer and finally getting the edge over the KTMs. Devastator and the Vans Husky would run out front, but for how long? In the OR3s, Taki looked like he had it, then Wade Den up the inside, and the big loser, Peter Karam, big time as everyone charged out. Stormy Viljoen snuck out, led for about 3 corners until Taki pulled the pin and got out front. But Stormy, one of his best runs out the gate for a long time. High School 125's Curvis Bester in sublime form. Little Karen doing a good job but getting boxed out, and Leslie sweeping around the outside, doing a great job to pop out into the number 2 spot. Back on the line, and all about the seniors. King Kenny once again getting it done with Yanni Potkita and Kochi doing the chase down. This time Parrot Foster in the mix on the Honda as well. Masters going to be all about Farmer getting the blue smoke going. It got the hook up nicely, but it was all about the chase down coming in from the Viking. Kobus Jonk and Warwick van Schalkwyk in strong form in the second half of the season. The veterans, Martin Poole, saw a little bit of clear air before it was all about the Ernst Slavitt show, and then Jeff Den, the silent destroyer, sweeping around the outside to see clear air. Ladies, strong money, put your mortgage and your next bank holiday money on the fact that Leah Haygate is going to get the job done, and she did just that with Nivua on the number 2 spot. Back on the line and into the Pro-Ams, boom, Big Chris gets barrel rolled out by his own teammate. That blew the start line wide open on the Pro-Am OR1s, and a lot of these guys were going to have to chase straight into the dust. It was going to be a nasty situation for the rest of the OR1, 2, and 3 in the Pro-Ams. Pro-Am OR2s all about the championship points leader, Elaine DeToy, getting left out and stumming like 9th or 10th place by the time he got to the hole shot. OR3's all about Teak Harrower, has been one of the finds of the season, getting picked up early by the MCA Honda squad, and he is unstoppable at the moment coming off that gate. The OR4 amateurs gives us a lot of the juniors coming up out of the junior ranks, and this is their first taste of going out racing on the big course, so a little bit of a chaotic start. They were the penultimate lineup going out before the wows went out, and that was a combination of wows and adventures to give us a full clean gate going out into rock and roll Rysmierbult, and the big lap was out there waiting for all of the challengers. Vian once again takes us through what the riders would be in store for in the afternoon event.
So again, for the two-wheeler seniors, it's going to be a 48.5 kilometer loop, exactly the same. Only thing is we're going to take them through the maze after every loop. For them, they're going to go out, and hole shot's going to be super important. It is tight and twisty, but at least there will be space for them to overtake each other in the first 4.5 Ks, but it's tight. But it's the most awesome berms that's been created over the years. So they're going to fly through that and then cross over the main road to carry on with the rest of the loop.
Out on course, picking up as we climb through the ladder. Only one entrant coming in from the Adventures, and that was Francois Bosch getting the job done. Then in the WOW class, a couple of new names on the page. Don Berger getting it up the road for a number 4 position, and he did a fair few laps as well to count that out. Dylan Botma on the W25, 3rd place, a guy that can definitely handle a bike, and he's just starting to enjoy what is GXCC cross-country racing. Devan Wolfart, one of the local riders. We've seen his lighty in the morning session racing on the quads. Daddy went out this time on the big bikes and scored a big number 2 spot, but this time around another local hero, even though he had a couple of sketchy moments. Erhard Benadal got the job done and walked away with his first ever WOW class GXCC victory. Then moving up in the ladders, Jaden Boyce, who went out in the morning session on his normal 85cc Kawa, decides he needs to know what it feels like to go out with the big dogs. 5th place for him, first time out. 4th place going to Hendrik Swats. Lohan LaRue, another junior, getting himself ready for the big move up into the pro classes for next year. 3rd place for him, so we know what he can do. He's a big muscular kid, and he got the job done. Ben Geldenace, a little bit more comfortable, and he had a little bit more horsepower, so that helped him on the big straights to get a number 2 finish in the OR4 amateur ranks. And then Skalk Fanta walking away with the big win. The Yami Smoker getting it down out at Rysmierbult, and he actually was out there playing with a couple of pros along the way as well. In the OR3 Pro-Am category, very interesting situation where we saw a couple of interesting situations come into play. Francois Swart was there, Manus Herbst, Unruh Mostert, then Francois Smallberger Jr., Baby Burger, the quarter pounder, getting it done in a number 5 spot, with Xander Marks up the road from him, getting it up to a number 4 finish. Xander Marks is really stylish at the moment. He's got a great setup on that gas machine of his, but there was no catching on to the 3rd place rider. A very in form and very strong turnout so far in the 22 championship for Albertine Pienaar. One of the happiest dudes out there on the course, always just super pumped to be out there riding and racing. Ruben Straden rocking it to a number 2 finish, but it was Teak Harrower that absolutely rock and rolled, and Hollywood it is, way, all the way from a whole shot. No one ever saw him after that. He was gone. The MCA Honda rider is in sublime form with another big win. In the OR2 Pro-Am category, interesting situation where we saw Nathan Sparrow getting it just outside of the top 6, where Marcel Swart was inside of the top 6, chasing down on the back wheel of Gav Young. Huge story though, Elaine DeToy was pushing hard, and even though he made a couple of mistakes, he did get all the way up from a terrible start, plow the entire field, and would eventually arrive on the top step, but he did it the tough way as well. He really put a lot of pressure on himself. Gav Young did make the pass on him in the early stages to go into a number 5 spot, with Rickers Fouchier up the road from him taking an eventual number 4. Fouchier, very tasty rider, like the way he stands and dances the bike around. Jan Vermeulen knows how to muscle his bike around. Didn't really like the tech areas of the track, but where he could, he ripped the bars off on the lowland, flat, high-speed stuff. Benru Stratum was there with a number 2 spot. And those guys were dicing it out for 2nd and 3rd the whole way through the day. But Elaine DeToy, who has really come good in the 2022 championship, is a safe bet now for the championship. He's got 2 rounds to go, and he smashes out another big win coming off a terrible start. Big Chris Hamster, even though he took an elbow to the face off the start line, did rocket all the way up to a number 7 finish come the end of play, chasing down on the back wheel of Shane Nienaber. Those two are good buddies, and they found each other out there on the course once again. Timmy Dreyer taking it to a number 5 finish this time around, so he'll be super happy with that, chasing down onto the back wheel of Pierre van der Walt. Those guys that were running 7, 6, 5, and 4 were very, very fast out there and very closely matched. Then, when you start making your way into the pinners that are up the road in the top 3, PW Van Viljoen was 3rd place. Ash Engelbrecht starting to now appear with different machinery, but Matty Snyman, who came out the gate in 2nd place, gets the VW Masterclass Hatfield KTM all the way up to a number 1 finish once again. Watch out for Matt Snyman when he puts a full season together next year. He is going to be super tasty. Small gate this time around for the Lady Pro-Ams. Natasha Tapuch in great form. Her time showed that she should be running with some of the pro ladies. The Pocket Rocket, Nicole Duplessis, the first of the pros, getting it a number 4 finish this time around. Catherine Mostert, the leading lady on some of the other more air scramble and enduro focused tours, came out and did a little bit of flatland riding, showing she knows how to hold the throttle wide. 3rd place for her at her first GXCC on the back wheel of Carla Nibio for Rubine Racing. 2nd place cements her 2nd place in the championship for the pro ladies. But Leah Haygate, once again, clear air off the whole shot, absolutely gone. And on lap times, listen to this, she would have placed inside of the top 5 for the men's pro categories based on her lap times. Into the veterans and some old school machinery. The old WR200 coming out the box. Willem Swickers deciding to get his old classic out for this one in 6th place for him. Sean Farrow on one of the old Suzukis, also got jumpers, and Stefan Bagnall. Mr. Evil Knievel himself once again brings it home in the points for a 4th spot. Mon Poole on the Yami looking after, or getting looked after by the Shimwell boys. Not super happy to hold it wide out, but he enjoyed the tech zones, and that's why he stayed inside the top 3, taking 3rd place. Up the road was Ernst Slubbitz for Rubine Racing once again, getting his form going in the latter half and the 2nd half of the tour, 2nd place. But Jeff Dent doesn't seem to have a fault or a problem on any track at the moment. Once again, hammering the nail on his competition. For the GXCC Masters, good gate, and there was no calling this one. In fact, when I saw the lineup, it was going to be very tricky to understand who was going to be able to get all the way to the top. Peter Compagne broke his way inside the top 6, chasing on the back wheel of Peter Jourdan. Francois Swanepoel always going to bring home the cheese. 4th place for him. It looks like he's back to full fitness. Wayne Farmer, who is not at full fitness, but is starting to get there slowly but surely. 3rd place, one of his best finishes of the season, and one of the best rides we've seen out of Farmer since he has been recovering from that shopping list of injuries. The axe is still swinging, long and true for the Viking. Kurbis Jonk, 2nd place, and a track that I thought he was going to be able to dominate on because he loves going flat out wide open on the big 500. But one rider who has come into the 2nd half of the season since he got picked up by Harry's squad and since he got onto the Cower, Warwick van Skalkwyk, has become unstoppable on national, regional, and club events alike. Then you move forward into the senior category races. This time around, we'll focus inside of the top 6. Big story on the day, Conrad Sieben getting it done inside of a number 6 finish. Glenn Ramsden, who has seen a win on the season, gets it into a number 5 spot. Gerrit Foster, he was up there in the top 3 early on and didn't drop too far out of the big numbers. 4th place for him with Yanni Potgieter and the classic Potgieter Kochi Dice. The drama continues this time around. Potgieter in the big 500 going down to a number 3 spot. Kochi and the 450 Yamaha getting a number 2 spot. Kochi desperately trying to get closer to the back wheel of King Kenny. He put 4 minutes into Potgieter, but he lost out by over 11 minutes to the back wheel of King Kenny Gilbert, who once again is absolutely gone. Looks like he is wrapping up championships left, right and center because he has not faltered. He hasn't got every single hole shot, but he has got every single fastest lap and every single flag and win on the seniors tour so far. And that is a big tick for Kawasaki on their championship challenge in 2022. For the high school situation, Jason Leslie got a good pull out the gate, getting a number 8 finish. Josh Alexander, not his best day behind the bars. He said he was feeling a little bit under the weather, and even though he was under the weather, he'll take the number 7 finish. Dwayne Combrink was there, finally making the move and looking comfortable in the high school category. Timmy Blake, number 5 spot this time around. As we move forward into the big pinners, Keanu Fisser, another rider who is not long since said goodbye to his junior racing days, 4th place, and he'll be pretty happy to not be too far off the back wheel of pinners like Curvis Bester, although it was around about 8 minutes off the back wheel of Bester. The top 3 are light years ahead of the rest of the field in the high schools. Björn Wenzel, who is the championship points leader, is playing the champions game. With this round counted, there are only 3 rounds remaining in the series so far. Wenzel, 2nd place here today. He'll take that, put the point in his back pocket, and be super pumped. Derek Karam had a fairly good gate this time around, came out of the whole shot queue inside the top 3, made a couple of passes, and found the form that he had right in the middle of the season that saw him take a national championship win. Finally gets the win streak going once again here at Rysmierbult, but it's going to be a hard put to see him challenge for the title now as things get a little bit close on the numbers. Moving forward then as we climb the ladder into the pro categories, this was a tough one to swallow. Dion van Stad was there in 8th. Peter Karam could do no better after getting boxed out off the line and having to pick himself up. He was stuck in traffic and stuck in the dust. 7th place for him. Then Steven Smith. Stormy Fulyoon, who had that early hole shot, had to drop down a couple of places by the end of the race, and the Vans Racing Husky rider was walking away with the number 5 spot. Wade Dent, who started the season chopping and changing, looked like he was going to be racing a 450. Then he appears after an injury out back on a 250. Then another Kawasaki in the lineup, chasing onto the back wheel of John Buerter. Johnny Boy, he'll be pretty happy with the 3rd place, although he did come into this season hoping that he could take a couple of wins. The win hasn't arrived yet because the dice out front is eye-wateringly fast between Taki Bodgiorgis and Matty Wilson. These guys were literally motocross elbows up, smashing bars the whole way through the day until eventually Wilson got away, leaving Bodgiorgis in his dust. And at this track, as soon as you're in the dust, it is game over. Wilson is eyeing up a big title haul this year. He's looking for the triple, which is club, regional, and national. At the moment, the KTM Brother Leadertread Factory Pro looks like he is heading that way. And if he does that, you may see him move up into the 350 class next year. He'll have to go up against these lads. In the OR2 Pro category, Vernon Nordia, 6th place. Again, he likes it a little bit slower, a little bit more tech. So we'll see him come to life at some of the more crazy tracks later on in the season. Alex Shearer came back across the border. Cool to see him coming across and racing out of bots. 5th place for him. Brad Burrell is now being picked up by the old school customs guys and in his 2nd GXCC on the 4-stroke. 4th place for him. John Niebuhr, a former OR2 Pro-Am champion, starting to get comfortable once again. 3rd place for him. He'll be happy with that. But the top 2 dudes on this gate were 14 minutes faster than the rest of the best. The Devastator, with the big hole shot, just couldn't run the pace of the factory KTM out front, but Devastator will be happy with the 2nd place because it will cement his number 2 spot in the championship challenge with just 2 rounds to go. But Haygate, firing on all cylinders this time around. He's been desperate for that win, and here Rysmierbult was his. Going forward then into the big dogs, the OR1 Pro category, the first guys to go out of the queue. Jean-Dre Olivier was there in 8th place with Francois de Crieff swapping over in the late part of the season to a Yamaha. Haven't seen him on that for a long time. Ruan Smith also swapping things out now onto a Roost KTM for this event, taking a 6th place ride. Tyron Beverly, big hole shot, but then faded down the order. Looked like he was also carrying a little bit of injury and feeling a little bit under the weather. 5th place eventually was his number on the page. Hayden Lowe, also a pickup, getting onto one of Harry's squads, riding out of the sleepover Honda squad. He'll be happy with this, although the Italians don't like going out into the dust too much. He will have just been gritting his teeth and trying to see if he could survive. 4th place puts him as the 2nd fastest of the Hondas. He'll take that. JC Nienaber, top 3 once again. Second half of the GXCCs is always all about JC coming good. He seems to have dialed in his diet, dialed in his nutrition, got super comfortable on the bike real quickly. And 3rd place will also see him potentially hang on to that 3rd place in the championship. It's a 2-horse race out front though for the big numbers taking the wins, and this is now going to really tighten up as we head to the final 2 rounds. Gareth Cole getting another 2 spot, Magic Mike back on the money. But this was a real close one, and it's going to be anyone's guess whether it's going to be a green machine or a flying Honda that get the job done. Here, it was Magic Mike though, once again, finding his mojo.
Yeah, for sure. It's been a tough year this far. Every race has been a challenge, and this race was also actually a challenge. I damaged my gearbox on the first lap, so I ended up racing the whole race with only 3 gears. Yeah, somehow the bike stayed together. I must give it to these Kawasaki's. They got a strong motor. But yeah, all in all, it was a cool day. Very dusty. No, it was actually alright. It was very hard pack and rocky, so it didn't get too choppy. Every race this year has been sandy and whooped out, and this was hard pack, so it was nice to ride something different. Yeah, it was a good fun day. Yes, yeah, I needed a good result here. So let's see. I think we've got 2 rounds left or so. We'll see how it goes.
Crazy dusty day out here, but overall really happy to come away with the win. Not exactly sure where I finished overall yet, but yeah, had one big off during the day, and yeah, was a little bit sore, but got up and regathered and continued pushing. But overall, can't thank the team, can't thank everyone in the pits for everything they've done today. Without them, this wouldn't be possible. But yeah, and to the organizers for a phenomenal event. Really cool.
Well, yeah, today it started off a bit bumpy. I think a few oaks went down in the first corner. I had to go wide. Fell back a bit. But no, they got good, went good, got into second, and then eventually made the pass on Taki on the second lap. We had a good dice. It was a lot of fun. Good clean racing the whole way. And yeah, unlucky, I had to do a 5th lap. No one else did, but got to do a parade lap and do some wheelies and say thank you to everyone. The track was good. There were a few lurkers out there with the dust. It was a bit sketchy, but other than that, it was good. Good mix of rocks, sand, fast, slow, technical. Yeah, can't complain. Good day out. Yeah, my family, my team, my sponsors, I couldn't thank them enough. I wouldn't be here without them, and to be winning for them, I'm chuffed. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it was important because I was a little bit behind in the championship, but this put me in the lead, and now it's going to make the last one just easier for the championship. Yeah, we had a battle in the previous GXCC as well, and my bike gave a little bit problems on the second last lap, and I was scared it was break, but yeah, I managed to take the win. Yeah, I just want to give Motos and Umbu from Motos Clarksdorp and Grant from MCA a very big thank you for everything they do for me and everything they do for the sport, and they make it possible for me to do what I love.
Yeah, back end of Honda, that's the sight I've seen all day long. It's unfortunate today I didn't get a good start, not what I planned. I mean, I stole the bike, came through the pack. It was a dust fest there. So I'm glad where I finished. I gave it my all, just didn't have enough to catch that Honda. the track got so rough. I think this is one of the, well, especially with all the rocks, it deteriorated so much. So you're on the last 2 laps, you had to be so careful, because I mean then there were rocks everywhere. So it was a lacquer track, all in all, very dusty. But yeah, no complaints about the track. Yeah, just a big shout out to the franchise company. I mean, Kawasaki and Henderson, all the products they give us, and big thanks to Mary. He put all this massive show for us on. So I mean, a big thanks goes out to him for getting us here to the races and for the massive support.
It was rough, I have to say. There were lots of lurkers out there, so I really slowed it down quite a lot and just kept it safe. I just didn't want to fall. So yeah, we came home with the win, and I'm in one piece. I didn't fall. Had a great time on the bike, and that's all it's about. Yeah, definitely. A huge thanks to my whole team and everyone that supports the team. We couldn't do it without you, so thank you.
Track here at Rysmierbult. The guys here from GXCC, Vian and his team, they do a phenomenal job. The track is always marked well. And there's a lot of rocks, but it was marked. So it's a safe track, and you enjoy any safe track. There's a little bit of slow, there's a bit of technical, there's a bit of speed. I like the speed. There was a bit more speed today. Yeah, look, Harry came to me in the beginning of the year when the season had started and gave me a bike to ride. And I was on a KTM last year, and he gave me a Kawasaki. And this Kawasaki is great. The whole team, the Dunlop tires, the franchise company, Torcraft, CIT, all of them, Kawasaki. It's a winning team. I mean, so we got Mike in our team as well. So yeah, without the Kawasaki, without the tires, and without the sponsorship, I wouldn't have nothing. It's a team effort, and I'm glad to be part of it.
Here's a confirmation and breakdown of the results then as we head into the final 2 rounds of the championship. Pentecost beating out on Cole and Nienaber, with Lowe, Beverly, Smith, De Groot, Olivier, Kotze and Vieira taking us to a top 10. In the OR2s, which is always the scariest gate for me, Scotty Haygate gets the win over the Devastator. Devin Smith in a 2 spot ahead of Jean Nebuer for Ruban Racing. Borrell for Old School Customs gets it done with a number 4, beating out on Shearer, who came across the border to come racing. Wilson on top once again for the factory KTMs, beating out on Taki Bodjodges, but it was close this time. Buerta, Den, Viljoen, Smit, Karam and Van Stad. And then in the high schools, Derek Karam back on the numbers. Cool to see him bringing it all the way to the top. He's keeping it nice and tight between himself and Vian Wenzel, who took a number 2 spot ahead of Bester, Visser and Blake. Into the seniors, Kenny Gilbert once again is the king on top, unstoppable and now unbeatable in the seniors championship. He beat out on Kochi, Potgieter, Foster and Glenn Ramsden, getting a good hookup going in a number 5 ride. For the Masters, Warwick van Skalkwyk looked like he was going to be the man and potentially the man to beat for the rest of the season. Beats out on Yonk, that's a big brag. Farmer down in 3rd, beating out on Swanepoel and Jourdan. For the veterans, Jeff Den, really strong on every single course, but at the end there wasn't much in it between himself and Slubbert, with Poole, Bagnall, Farrow and Swickers taking us to a number 6. For the ladies pro gate, Leah Haygate getting it over Colin Nebuer. Catherine Mostert impressive in 3rd place ahead of the pocket rocket Nicole Duplessis, and Pro-Am ladies going to Natasha Tapur. Pro-Am gate starting out with the big bangers, Sneeman on top with Engelbrecht and Viljoen. 4th place going to Van der Vault with Dreyer, Nienaber and Chris Hamser recovering from his crash to a number 7 ride. Alain de Toy, wow, what can you say about this guy? Incredible come from behind ride this time around to extend his championship points lead, this time beating out on Stratum, Vermeulen, Fouchier and Young, with Mostert just outside the magic top 5 with a number 6 ride. Harrower on top for Honda this time around, also running off into the distance for his championship, beating out on Stratum and Pienaar. And the OR4 amateurs, cool to see the kids coming good here. Fenter beating out on Geldenhuis with LaRue down there in 3rd place. Hendrik Swats, Jaden Boyce, one of his first rides out in the OR4s, getting it inside of the top 5. For the wild class, Benedal beating out on Wolford. A couple of local riders getting the job done for the Rysmierbult Massive, beating out on Buerta and Berger with the adventure bikes. 1 rider finishing and getting the big cheese. So the story of Rysmierbult is going to be one that it was a massively successful event, Dust Bowl racing for sure, but the track held well together the whole way through the day's racing and everyone scored the points that they so desperately needed. We now get ourselves ready for the final 2 rounds of the championship. This is going to go down as one of the tightest GXCC championships in history. Stay tuned. Next 2 rounds are going to be absolute nail biters. All this GXCC racing action was proudly brought to you by VW Mastercars Hatfield. So now we get ready for the last 2 rounds of the GXCC Championship. The rains may be just around the corner. Certainly the heat is coming up, so that's going to change how people approach the last couple of rounds of the championship. No signs of venues as yet, but we know that Vion and Miranda will be telling us very shortly what's going to be happening over the next couple of months for the tail end of their championship. But of course, as we roll into October, we're going to be talking GXCC's, their penultimate round of the championship. I think it's round number 7. And we get ourselves ready for the finale, the double points round of the Farm Jams. This is going to be a very, very, very important racing month, especially for Farm Jam, because it's going to be double points. This is where at one event on one day, we're going to be able to pretty much decide and wrap up all the championships for all the categories racing up the hare scrambles at Farm Jam, which has been an amazing season and a series this year. And we'll get closer to knowing who is going to be on the box for the GXCCs. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. There's plenty more to come, but we're going to take a little breather next week just to allow ourselves to get ready for what is going to be a stellar couple of stacked weekends in October. Laters.